What if the biggest signs that a woman likes you are the exact things most men completely ignore? Most guys believe attraction is loud. They think if a woman is interested, she'll make it obvious, chase them, or directly confess her feelings. But that's not how human behavior usually works. In reality, attraction is often subtle. It's hidden in small actions, tiny habits, and moments that seem meaningless until you understand the psychology behind them. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many men spend years looking for dramatic signs while missing the quiet ones happening right in front of them. Then they wonder why someone else ended up with the woman they liked. The psychology of attraction isn't about magic tricks or secret formulas. It's about understanding how people naturally behave when emotions become involved. When someone genuinely likes another person, their brain often reveals feelings before their words ever do. They may not even realize they're sending these signals themselves. That doesn't mean every smile is flirting or every kind gesture is a hidden confession. People have different personalities, cultures, and communication styles. The smartest men don't jump to conclusions based on one behavior. Instead, they notice patterns. When several signs appear consistently together, they paint a much clearer picture. This is where many men get confused. They either assume every woman is interested, which leads to awkward situations, or they assume no one could possibly like them, causing them to miss real opportunities. Both extremes create unnecessary problems. Today's video isn't about manipulation or trying to decode every woman you meet. It's about becoming more observant, more emotionally aware, and more confident in recognizing genuine interest when it naturally appears. Some of these signs may surprise you because they're incredibly small. Others might completely change the way you look at your past conversations. You may even realize that someone once liked you and you never noticed. So pay close attention. Don't focus on one sign by itself. Think about the overall pattern. Attraction usually whispers long before it speaks. And one of the biggest mistakes men make, they wait for certainty instead of paying attention to consistent behavior. By the end of this video, you'll understand why those tiny moments often reveal far more than grand romantic gestures ever could. Section 1. She finds reasons to stay around you. One of the strongest psychological signs of attraction isn't always what a woman says. It's whether she chooses to remain around you when she doesn't have to. Think about it. Time is one of the most valuable things anyone has. People naturally spend more of it with those who make them feel comfortable, excited, or emotionally connected. When a woman secretly likes you, she'll often look for small opportunities to extend interactions, even if there's no important reason to do so. Maybe the conversation has already ended, but she keeps adding one more question. Maybe everyone else has left, yet she stays behind for a few extra minutes. Perhaps she walks the same direction as you, even when she could have taken another route. These moments might seem random on their own, but when they happen repeatedly, they can reveal genuine interest. The key word here is consistency. Anyone can stay around you once out of convenience. But when someone repeatedly creates opportunities to be close to you, psychology suggests they're enjoying your presence for more than practical reasons. Many men miss this because they're waiting for dramatic flirting. They expect obvious compliments or bold confessions. Meanwhile, attraction is quietly showing itself through simple choices. Being present is often a form of emotional investment. At the same time, don't mistake politeness for romantic interest. Some people are naturally friendly or simply enjoy conversation. That's why it's important to look for this behavior alongside other signs we'll discuss throughout this video. Here's something worth remembering. People rarely force themselves to spend extra time with someone they don't enjoy. If she consistently chooses your company when she has other options, there's a good chance your presence means something to her. Sometimes attraction doesn't begin with grand gestures. Sometimes it begins with someone finding one more reason not to say goodbye just yet. Section 2. She remembers the small things you say. One of the clearest signs of attraction isn't found in big romantic gestures. It's found in memory. When a woman genuinely likes you, she often pays closer attention than you realize. She remembers the little details that most people forget. It could be your favorite meal, a hobby you mentioned weeks ago, the name of your childhood pet, or even a random story you told during a casual conversation. Psychologically, this happens because emotional interest increases attention. When someone matters to us, our brain naturally places more value on information connected to that person. The small details stop feeling small. They become meaningful because they're attached to someone we enjoy thinking about. Many men underestimate how powerful this sign can be. They expect attraction to be obvious, yet they overlook the fact that remembering details requires genuine attention. In today's world, where everyone is distracted by phones, work, and endless notifications, someone who truly listens stands out. Imagine mentioning that you have an important meeting on Friday. Days later, she asks how it went without you bringing it up first. Or maybe you once mentioned your favorite football team, and the next time you talk, she casually asks whether they won their latest match. Those moments aren't always accidental. This doesn't mean every good memory is a sign of attraction. Some people naturally have excellent memories or simply care about others. But when she consistently remembers personal details specifically about you, it's worth paying attention. Here's where many men get it wrong. They assume attraction is about impressive words or dramatic actions. In reality, people often reveal their feelings through effort. Remembering someone's life takes effort. Remembering the little things takes even more. The truth is simple. People invest mental energy in what they value. If she consistently recalls details that even you forgot mentioning, she's showing that your words matter to her. And when your words matter, there's a good chance you matter too. Section 3. She laughs more easily around you. One of the most misunderstood signs of attraction is laughter. Most men assume a woman laughs because they're naturally funny. Sometimes that's true, but psychology suggests there's often more happening beneath the surface. When a woman likes someone, her emotional state changes around that person. She becomes more receptive, more engaged, and more likely to enjoy even the simplest interactions. That's why jokes that aren't particularly hilarious may still earn a genuine laugh. It's not always the joke she's responding to, it's the person telling it. Think about how people behave around someone they genuinely enjoy. Conversations feel lighter. Silence becomes less awkward. Even small moments seem more entertaining. Attraction has a way of making ordinary interactions feel special. This is why you'll sometimes notice her smiling before you've even finished speaking. She isn't just reacting to your words, she's reacting to the positive emotion she associates with being around you. There's another detail many men overlook. A woman who secretly likes you often looks for reasons to keep the mood positive. She may laugh at your playful comments, respond warmly to your teasing, or encourage conversations by showing that she's enjoying herself. Her laughter becomes a way of saying, "I like being here," without actually saying those words. Of course, it's important to stay realistic. Some people naturally laugh a lot because they're outgoing or simply have cheerful personalities. That's why you should never judge attraction based on laughter alone. Instead, ask yourself a better question. Does she laugh noticeably more around you than she does around other people? Does her energy seem different when you're involved in the conversation? These comparisons matter because attraction usually changes behavior, even in subtle ways. Many men spend so much time trying to impress a woman that they forget to notice whether she's already enjoying their company. Genuine attraction often creates an atmosphere where both people feel more relaxed, more playful, and more connected. Sometimes, the loudest clue isn't a confession or a compliment. Sometimes it's the smile she can't seem to hide whenever you're around. Section 4. She initiates small conversations. One of the biggest mistakes men make is believing that attraction only shows itself through long, deep conversations. In reality, it often begins with something much simpler, a woman finding small reasons to talk to you. She doesn't always need an important topic. Sometimes she'll ask a question she could have answered herself. Other times, she'll make a casual comment about something happening around you, send a funny meme, or simply check in to see how your day is going. On the surface, these conversations may seem ordinary, but psychologically, they serve a much bigger purpose. When someone enjoys your presence, they naturally look for opportunities to reconnect. The conversation itself isn't always the goal. The connection is. This is something many men completely overlook. They focus on how exciting the conversation is instead of noticing who keeps starting it. If she's regularly the one opening the conversation, She's showing that you're on her mind often enough to act on it. Think about it for a moment. Everyone has a busy life. People don't usually create extra conversations with someone they have little interest in. They text the people they want to hear from. They ask questions because they want the interaction to continue. They look for simple excuses to keep the connection alive. Now, this doesn't mean every message is a hidden declaration of love. Some people are naturally social and enjoy talking with everyone. That's why, once again, patterns matter more than isolated moments. If she consistently reaches out, keeps conversations flowing, and seems genuinely interested in hearing your thoughts, that's a much stronger signal than one random text. Here's where men need a wake-up call. Too many assume they must always carry every conversation, always send the first message, and always make the effort. But attraction isn't supposed to feel one-sided. When someone is genuinely interested, they usually contribute to building the connection too. A relationship doesn't grow because one person does all the work. It grows because both people keep finding reasons to reach out. And sometimes, the smallest, "Hey, how's your day going?" says far more than a perfectly crafted message ever could. Section 5. Her body naturally faces you. Words can be carefully chosen, but body language is often much harder to control. That's why psychologists have long studied the way people physically position themselves around those they feel connected to. One subtle sign of attraction is when a woman's body naturally turns toward you, even when she doesn't realize she's doing it. Imagine you're in a group conversation. There are several people talking, but you notice that her shoulders, feet, or even her knees are pointed in your direction. She may be speaking to everyone, yet her body keeps orienting itself toward you. This isn't something most people consciously decide to do. It often happens because our bodies tend to align with where our attention and interest are focused. You'll also notice smaller details. She may lean in slightly when you're speaking instead of pulling away. She might maintain comfortable eye contact, nod as you talk, or unconsciously mirror some of your movements. These behaviors can signal that she's engaged and feels comfortable in your presence. However, this is where many men make a costly mistake. They see one piece of body language and immediately assume attraction. That's not how human behavior works. Someone may face you simply because you're the person speaking, because the room is arranged that way, or because they're naturally attentive. Body language is only meaningful when several positive signals appear together over time. Learning to observe without jumping to conclusions is a skill. The goal isn't to analyze every movement like a detective. It's to notice consistent patterns that make sense within the overall interaction. Here's something many men need to hear. Stop focusing only on what people say. Start paying attention to whether their actions match their words. Genuine interest is often revealed through comfort, attention, and engagement before it's ever spoken aloud. The truth is, attraction has a way of showing itself without permission. Sometimes, before a person is ready to admit how they feel, their body has already started telling the story. Section 6. She looks at you when something funny happens. Have you ever noticed that when something unexpected or funny happens, some people immediately turn to look at one specific person? It might seem like a random habit, but psychology suggests there's often a reason behind it. When a woman secretly likes you, she may instinctively look in your direction during moments of excitement, surprise, or laughter. It's a natural reaction. People often seek eye contact with the person whose opinion, reaction, or presence matters most to them in that moment. Imagine you're both in a group setting and someone tells a hilarious joke. Instead of keeping her attention on the person speaking, she laughs and then quickly glances at you. She's not necessarily trying to get your attention on purpose. It can happen almost automatically because sharing emotional moments with someone creates a stronger sense of connection. This behavior isn't limited to funny situations either. It can happen during exciting news, awkward moments, or anything that sparks an emotional response. Our brains naturally want to experience those moments with people we feel closest to, even if the relationship is still developing. Many men completely miss this because they're focused on being the center of attention. They're thinking about what to say next instead of noticing who's paying attention to them. Attraction often reveals itself in these quiet, almost invisible moments rather than through obvious flirting. Of course, context still matters. If she's your close friend or you're the only person she knows in the room, looking at you could simply be a sign of familiarity. That's why this signal becomes much more meaningful when it's combined with other signs, like seeking conversations, remembering details, or finding reasons to spend time with you. One glance doesn't tell the whole story, but repeated glances during emotional moments can reveal where her attention naturally goes. Here's something worth remembering. People don't just share conversations with those they care about, they share experiences. And one of the simplest ways the mind does that is by looking toward the person it wants to connect with. Sometimes, before she says a single word, her eyes have already revealed who she's happiest to experience the moment with. Section 7. She asks personal questions. One of the strongest signs that a woman may be interested in you is her curiosity about your life. Not the kind of small talk that fills awkward silence, but the kind of questions that help her understand who you really are. At first, she might ask simple things. What do you enjoy doing on weekends? What's your favorite type of music? What kind of work do you do? But as the conversations continue, her questions often become more personal. She may want to know about your goals, your family, your childhood, or what motivates you. These aren't random topics. They're pieces of the person behind the first impression. Psychologically, attraction often creates a desire for deeper understanding. When someone catches our attention, we naturally want to learn more about them. We become interested in their experiences, opinions, and dreams, because knowing more about them helps us feel emotionally closer. Many men overlook this because they assume questions are just a way to keep the conversation going. Sometimes that's true. But when a woman remembers your answers, follows up on previous conversations, and keeps asking thoughtful questions, she's showing more than casual interest. She's investing time and attention into getting to know you. There's also an important difference between asking questions out of politeness and asking them out of genuine curiosity. A polite conversation usually stays on the surface. Genuine interest goes deeper. She doesn't just ask what you do, she asks why you chose that path. She doesn't just ask where you've been. She wants to know what those experiences meant to you. Here's where many men need a reality check. If every conversation revolves around you trying to impress her, you're missing the bigger picture. Attraction isn't just about being admired. It's about building a connection where both people want to understand each other. When someone consistently wants to know what makes you think, what makes you laugh, and what kind of future you're working toward, they're showing that they see you as more than just another face in the crowd. Sometimes, the most meaningful sign of attraction isn't found in compliments. It's found in someone who genuinely wants to know the story behind your life. Section 8. She notices changes about you. Most people are busy thinking about their own lives. They're focused on work, family, responsibilities, and everything else competing for their attention. That's why it's so meaningful when someone consistently notices the small changes about you that everyone else overlooks. Maybe you got a new haircut, started wearing a different watch, changed your style, or even seemed more confident than usual. While others say nothing, she's the one who immediately points it out. It may seem like a small observation, but psychologically, it often reflects something much deeper. She's paying attention. People naturally notice what matters to them. When a woman is emotionally interested in someone, her brain tends to become more aware of the details connected to that person. She doesn't have to make an effort to notice these things. It happens because you're already occupying space in her thoughts. This goes beyond appearance, too. She might notice that you've been quieter than usual, that you seem stressed, or that you're in an unusually good mood. She picks up on emotional changes just as easily as physical ones. That level of awareness doesn't usually happen by accident. Now, it's important to stay grounded. Some people are naturally observant and notice details about everyone. That's why you shouldn't base your conclusions on a single compliment or comment. Instead, ask yourself whether she seems especially attentive to you compared to others. Does she consistently notice things that most people miss? Here's something many men fail to appreciate. Attraction isn't always loud. It often shows itself through attention. Someone who notices the little things is telling you, without saying it directly, that you're worth watching. And here's a wake-up call. Too many men spend all their energy trying to get noticed, while completely ignoring the people who are already paying attention to them. Instead of constantly chasing validation, Learn to recognize genuine interest when it's right in front of you. Sometimes, the clearest sign that someone likes you isn't what they say, it's the fact that they notice the things about you that everyone else walks right past. Section 9. She becomes slightly nervous or self-conscious around you. One of the most overlooked signs of attraction is nervousness. Many men assume that if a woman likes them, she'll always appear completely confident and relaxed. But psychology often shows the opposite. When emotions become involved, even the most confident person can act a little differently. If a woman secretly likes you, she may become more aware of how she speaks, how she looks, or how she's coming across. She might laugh a little more than usual, stumble over her words, play with her hair, adjust her clothing, or briefly look away during eye contact before smiling again. These are subtle behaviors that can appear when someone wants to make a good impression. The reason is simple. We naturally care more about the opinions of people we're attracted to. Because of that, there's often a little extra pressure to say the right thing or avoid looking awkward. That pressure can create small moments of nervousness without the person even realizing it. Now, don't misunderstand this point. Nervousness by itself is not proof of attraction. Someone can seem anxious because they're shy, having a stressful day, or simply uncomfortable in social situations. That's why context always matters. You're looking for a combination of signs, not a single behavior that explains everything. Pay attention to how she behaves specifically around you. Does she seem relaxed with everyone else but slightly more self-conscious when you're part of the conversation? Does she smile after making a small mistake instead of pulling away? Those little differences can sometimes reveal that your opinion carries more weight than she wants to admit. Here's something men often need to hear. Stop expecting perfection. Real attraction isn't always smooth or polished. Sometimes it's a little awkward, sometimes it's uncertain, and that's perfectly normal. In fact, those imperfect moments can be more genuine than rehearsed confidence. When someone is trying a little harder because they care about how you see them, it often means there's an emotional investment beneath the surface. Sometimes, attraction doesn't reveal itself through flawless conversations. Sometimes, it quietly appears in the moments when someone is trying their best not to let you see how much your presence affects them. Section 10. She makes consistent effort to keep the connection going. If there's one sign that brings everything together, it's this: consistency. Anyone can be friendly for a day. Anyone can smile, laugh at a joke, or have one great conversation. But attraction usually isn't revealed through one memorable moment. It's revealed through repeated effort over time. When a woman genuinely likes you, she often finds ways to keep the connection alive. She replies when she can, follows up on conversations, remembers what you've talked about, and doesn't let every interaction fade away. She doesn't leave the entire relationship resting on your shoulders. Instead, she contributes in her own way. This is where many men make one of their biggest mistakes. They become obsessed with trying to decode every text message, every smile, or every social media interaction. They spend hours wondering what one action means while ignoring the overall pattern. The pattern is what matters. Does she consistently make time for conversations? Does she seem happy to hear from you? Does she remember previous discussions and build on them? Does she show genuine interest in what's happening in your life? These behaviors paint a much clearer picture than any single moment ever could. Here's a truth that some men need to hear. Stop chasing mixed signals. If you're constantly forcing conversations, carrying every interaction, and doing all the work to maintain the connection, that's a sign worth paying attention to as well. Healthy attraction usually involves effort from both people. This doesn't mean everything will always be perfectly balanced. People have busy schedules, responsibilities, and different communication styles. But over time, genuine interest tends to show itself through consistent actions rather than occasional bursts of attention. At the end of the day, attraction isn't about finding one magical signal that guarantees someone's feelings. Human emotions are more complex than that. The smartest approach is to observe patterns, respect boundaries, and allow connections to develop naturally. The biggest lesson is this: when someone truly values having you in their life, they'll usually find reasons to stay connected. They won't have to be convinced to make an effort. Their actions will quietly speak for themselves, and those actions are often far more honest than words ever could.